Hello, welcome back to Ones and Fours, the Star Wars podcast, and a very, very special episode. I'm joined as usual by Dave and by George, and let's not beat around the bush. Something amazing has happened out of SDCC. We'll start off this episode with a bit of an apology. We had our usual show scheduled last night. We went ahead and broadcast it, but due to some error with Dave's internet or something to do with that line, the show is now only 13 minutes long and has basically done not really much of our content in it, so we do apologise for that. We will re-report on the news in our next episode. We'll get things sorted. But for now, one of the things we talked about in that episode was the fact we had this 10-year Clone Wars anniversary panel at SDCC, and we kind of theorised what it's about. We talked about it in the episode before that, and I quite categorically said I reckon it'll either be end of the series or a new movie to finish it off, and I was right.
It's going to be a high enticing. No, Phil was indeed correct on his assumption of that we would get a finishing to this. Now, they went through the Clone Wars panel. They just talked about the artwork. They showed clips from the start, and then they showed lots of artwork that they'd saved up over the time. And then, this announcement came with a trailer that dropped, which just says a war that never ended until now. And then we got this minute-and-a-half trailer of Anakin showing up again with beautiful animation and seeing Ahsoka, and where this is all leading. This was a shock. Although Phil had called this saying this what happened, I'd never expected we'd get this, but to have it, to go back, I got full-on goosebumps when I saw this trailer, and I'm not gonna lie, it probably made me get a little bit manly lump in my throat. Not that kind of manly lump in my throat, but a manly lump in my throat all the same. Sorry, PG. It was, it's an amazing thing. I'm over the moon with this.
I came back from work. No, I was at work, and I just got a message of day. Like, the Clone Wars panel starts an hour. I was like, because I genuinely didn't know what day. We knew it was going to be at San Diego, but I didn't know what day it was going to be. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'm kind of intrigued. And then it was just, it's back. And it reminded me of, for those that watch a bit of football, England gets to the semi-finals. That you didn't think it would happen, so you never believed it could happen. And that's why Phil's right, because he's the only one that believed.
I held the faith, and it came true. I was vindicated. I'm happy for everyone in the room. It was probably a great panel. We all know Filoni can put together a great panel. But to get that announcement is very, I don't want to say interesting because it's blatantly interesting. It's amazing. It's one of the best. It's one of the best Star Wars news moments for a year. The people are going to be talking about this until Celebration next year. This is the big thing. Of course, Episode 9 is coming naturally. But bringing Clone Wars back, this is kind of Disney, okay, we're going to go back and finish that off. So then we've got 2 finished series, and we can begin this, Resistance Season 1, I assume, will be finished by then. Whether the show's finished, we don't know. But I'm sitting there thinking, just give me Clone Wars now. Just give it to me. I don't want Star Wars Resistance, just give me Clone Wars. Yeah,
I've never seen quite the outpouring of great messages and love and fondness as I've seen for Star Wars on Twitter over the last few hours since this was announced. I've hardly seen a jot of negativity around Star Wars right now. That's exactly what it needs. It needs that boost of positivity, and that's pretty much all I've seen across the board. Yeah,
it's something that both Star Wars needed and we needed. Enough of the negativity, more of the positivity, and Clone Wars. As I said, I was right. I called it. I think it's more of a delusion of grandeur that came true. It was more more accurate there. Clone Wars was a fantastic series. I did see the film when it came out in the cinema here 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Listen to I know what it would become. Listen to how much I love the show and how devastating it was when it finished. In fact, to see the Crisis on Utapau and to see Bad Batch, to get those released on the Lost Missions and to get on the Lost Missions at StarWars.com, and then to get the book Dark Disciple and Son of Dathomir in the comics, you then had at least the ending of the first half of the series, of Series 6. That was great for them to try and release it to finish off what they started. But now to have the ending to that series, to have Bad Batch continue, the fact that even in the trailer you see Hunter, who is the head of Clone Force 99, who is it's Bad Batch, and to have that going forward, it just yes, all over, yes. I'm so happy.
If anybody's thinking about where this could all go, now we've got 12 episodes, so that's a lot of. If it's again 23-minute episodes, which Clone Wars were, that's still a lot of television over that time. So it's a big story to kind of put out there. It's not going to be one little story arc told over a few episodes, which a lot of when you go back to Rebels, it was a lot of 2 and 3 parts. So I think we get one big flowing story through these 12 episodes. If you want a kind of idea about that, if you do go onto StarWars.com, I believe they've still got some of the footage up there or some of the panels on there. It's certainly on YouTube, and if you want to find it. The Dave Filoni panel that they did from Celebration London, that we all attended,
still on YouTube, on
they talked about Ahsoka's story and how it would have gone on. Now, from the poster art that we get from that they've released with the helmet with the Ahsoka markings on there, to what we saw in that panel, they kind of mapped out Ahsoka's story. And as well, if you read the Ahsoka young adult novel book, that also covers that part of our story as well and what happened and
that's on my next read list. Don't spoil it like you did last time.
It's all got to be, these 12 episodes are going to cover it. I mean, this certainly the first part of that book, it's kind of interlaced chapters with our story, what's happening now, and then it goes back to how she got there. And it's got those parts where she's coming back have got to be covered in that story. There's just no way around it. They will cover that off, and it's going to be great because it means, no spoilers here, Maul is back. You can see in the trailer that she's on Mandalore. She's with the girl who Sabine gave us saber to.
Oh, Bo-Katan?
That's Bo-Katan standing next to Ahsoka. I've got no doubts about that. So I think we're in for a ride and a half over 12 episodes. I'm still blown away and still quite taken back.
Would be incredible.
I think the key thing of this is that because the open ending, I think when Clone Wars started, they had that animated film, and as soon 10 years ago I was only 12. That film came out, I was like, oh, I don't really want an animated Star Wars film. And naturally, that age, you just not. I think animated films are weird. Like, you love them as kids, as teens you don't. But then when you hit I'm not even old, but there's just a couple of years where you don't really appreciate animated films. And I remember I sat there, and I think it was on season 2 or 3. I started watching it, and I binged 3 seasons, and I thought, oh, this is really good. Star Wars has gone really good again. And then I just hated watching shows weekly, so I just didn't watch it. And then eventually, when Clone Wars finished, it got, Disney took over and whatnot. I bought the box set, I rewatched them all. And just sat there goes, wow, it's such a shame they didn't get to end this. Because it would have, it would have tied him up. I mean, this is still, people forget, this is still George Lucas' brainchild. Yes, it was Filoni and Lucas together that did this. And I guarantee you, some of these episodes that are going to air may have been recorded 4.5 years ago. The voices. Okay, they might probably change scripts or change editing, but I guarantee these episode arcs were written 4.5 years ago by Lucas and Filoni. They probably worked it together. Of course, they'll change some things. They probably planned 7 or 8 seasons saying Lucas, but there's going to be a George Lucas angle to this franchise still. And I think, like the original Clone Wars, the 2D animated Clone Wars, there will be a definitive ending, also known as Episode 3. And if they've turned around, and I think that it says to Filoni, he goes, listen, Dave, not you, Dave, the other Dave. I can just picture...
They rarely ring me now.
I could just picture, Kathleen Kennedy sitting down, Kerry Hart, and Dave Filoni saying, right, we've finished Rebels, we've worked on Resistance, and you can have your Clone Wars for one season to finish it, wrap it up, do it beautifully like that, and then we'll carry on from there. And I genuinely think these 12 episodes are going to be to finish this Star Wars series, which is great. As long as Episode 3 ends with Anakin, not Episode 3. If the series finishes with Anakin and Obi-Wan just flying off into space, then we all know it's job done.
I think
it'll have that definitive endpoint.
And I think the actual flying off of Anakin and Obi-Wan will come a little bit earlier in the series, maybe Episode 9 or 10, because of the story they're going to tell with Ahsoka to finish her off as well. I think they're going to really build those last few episodes. My own opinion is that they'll build them around Ahsoka. This is Filoni's creation. And I think he'll want to finish off her story at the end, because as I go back to this panel, Filoni was saying Anakin leaves her with a bunch of clone troopers to take on Maul on Mandalore. So I think definitely we will see that, but I think it will be a couple episodes early that Anakin and Obi-Wan will fly off to hear they've heard news of the Chancellor, and whether it's going to be weird whether we get to see any of
Order
that build-up as
66.
well as. Yeah, like
I mean, we've got
sure the chance they're getting taken, and they're gonna.
the beauty of this is that 5 years ago, Star Wars Rebels wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
5 years ago, there was Clone Wars, and it didn't end. Now, okay, we can end the Clone Wars, but there's this other show called Star Wars Rebels, which, you know, okay, Ahsoka has to live this time. Maul has to live. Rex has to live, but maybe they're going to show that. There's because of Rebels, there's now potential, and I would happily bet 10 grand that they will cameo a youngling called Caleb Doom.
Yes.
You know that's going to happen. It doesn't matter if it's the background.
She'll have to be in it as well.
There's going to be things that get cameoed, which is great, and I'm just very, very excited to see what they do. And I think Star Wars Celebration will be where they unveil the first episode. And I think we'll be at 12 episodes, and this is the smart thing from Disney. For those that live under a brick, Netflix is a big thing. And the only thing that could probably take down Netflix is Disney. You know, today they've confirmed that Comcast have pulled out of buying 20th Century Fox. It's purely going to Disney. It is theirs for the taking. Disney are launching their own equivalent of Netflix, and they've said these episodes of Clone Wars will go on there. They will be released on there, which means that, sadly, we have to wait until September, minimum end of 2019. And which is great because in terms of business, everyone's going to...
That's purely because of the CW deal, though. Because of when Disney bought out Lucasfilm, they had to cancel the show because they couldn't air it on the CW network. They can now finish it off by putting it on their streaming service, which I'm more than happy for that.
Yeah, it's a smart tactic. They're not going to release it on the Disney XD when everyone has access to that channel. If they want to sell some more subscribers, then they're going to put it on there. Just like I think they're doing like 5 original, not Star Wars films obviously, but there's going to be 5 brand new original films that launch on this Disney streaming service. So there'll be multiple TV shows. We now know one of the TV shows is this.
The other one, of course, we know of is the live action.
Yes, of course, there'll be 2 Star Wars TV shows and potentially a film. I hope they didn't put a film on there. I want films at the cinema. But
I think if they do, they'll do what I said, which was they'll have a film out for probably a month and then release it on there to give it at least a fighting chance in
of coming out.
Yeah.
So it's smart tactics from Disney. They know people want this. Don't get me wrong. I like Star Wars Rebels. I love Star Wars Rebels. I do think the final season was dreadful, and I still maintain that belief. So I'm hoping that Clone Wars gets the ending that Rebels did, but does it not in a better way, because I don't want to sit here being salty, but if they've had a lot of time to come up with these 12 episodes. I mean, Rebels finished airing, 4 months ago, and they probably finished writing that episode a year and a half ago. And they've probably had these episodes in the can. They've had these ideas being plotted around probably for years. I think as 12 episodes goes, if you look at the Clone Wars as a whole series, as great as it was, for every 3 quality, amazing, incredible episodes you had, there were always 3 dreadful ones. And they balanced out in the fact that it was still a fantastic TV show. But these 12 episodes need to be the 12 strongest episodes they can possibly air. Because if it isn't that, they've wasted 1 out of 12. This is and this was the issue with the Rebels finale, the Rebel season, that they wasted the first half of the season when they said it won't be any filler. Yeah. Whereas they've got 12 episodes, you need to get to that episode 3.
The first half of Rebels they wasted. The second half was amazing, apart from time travel, but that we were talking
yes,
about.
Yes. I bet someone's going to go around and they're going to go search the triangle weird stuff for the time travel from Clone Wars, not Clone Wars, from Rebels. Bet you there's a Clone Wars Easter egg in there.
You know what? It's all actually the whole 12 episodes are all going to be about the father, the son, and the daughter.
Oh.
It's all going to be mystical, and
and then Phil leaves one to the Force because he
like Disney shares just go down like 20%.
But Dave was happy, so it's fine, and that's all that's important some days. But this is just—it's amazing news that, as I say, even though Phil had said that's what we could get, we were expecting a big announcement. We thought something was going to happen.
Yeah, well, you two said maybe a book, maybe a comic, something along those lines. I was like, no, I'm adamant. We will get a finish. We will either get a movie or we'll get episodes, and I was right.
It was just look, and from what they've released, yes, they've only done. Who knows how much of this has been done already? With maybe they've only done the trailer, but the animation again. It jumps you straight back to where you were, but looks so much improved as well.
Yeah,
the model on Anakin and Obi-Wan just
looks visually looks absolutely stunning. And then, of course, to break down the trailer, which we might as well get into now, we might as well break down what we've actually seen in the trailer. The trailer opens up with Rex's helmet, clothes walk away. Turns out to be Rex's helmet. You see Wolf's helmet and Redlaw's. You see a bunch of helmets going down the line. And you hear a bunch of sound bites from the trailer, from the 5 previous seasons. The helmets then get all blown up, and it cuts to this brand new footage. You have a ATRT, AAT come in. You have ATTEs. You have a massive amount of clones. You have the music helps set it. You have Anakin appear with Rex and Hunter. Hunter, of course, being the Sergeant of Clone Force 99 or the Bad Batch. Camera pans around. You have all of the Venator class Star Destroyers, and then probably they may have written it for the trailer, let alone the episode. But of course, you have then Rex. Anakin blasting through the door, going. It's very important. Rex goes all the way back from, and then you have Ahsoka here. So our master's been a while, and it ends there. Yes, it's something that, of course, we were waiting for, but to have this be the first new Clone Wars footage in 6 years, to have 5-6 years, to have this tangible. Yes, it's going to be a year before we see it, if not more. But I genuinely can't wait for it.
Just get out there and look at hashtag Clone Wars saved. It is everywhere.
My favourite one is one I was thinking of sending earlier, but I just couldn't find the meme because I was at work. Was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one from everyone's favourite Senator Palpatine. I haven't seen the Star Wars community this united in many years. Maybe the first time in my lifetime. Because everyone seems to hate the prequels 1 minute and then something the next. If they don't hate the prequels, they then love the prequels, so they can instead hate the Disney films, and they're all hating. Like, how are they going to cope? That Disney brought back the Clone Wars, they're all just going to cry. They're going to be sitting there.
They've done something we wanted them to do.
They're going to be tweeting Ryan Johnson abuse, like, look, that edit was so bad, Disney had to reboot the Clone Wars. That's exactly what they're all thinking. Which I don't think that this is this isn't my opinion, but somewhere there's a grown man crying, blaming.
We
Ryan
will
Johnson.
be all back next week with our fanboy tears mugs and the revelation.
EA, you want to do the Clone Wars? This is how you handle it, not the way you handle it. Just putting that out there.
But I think, literally, we just wanted to get on tonight because obviously it's new and it's just come out, so we were all here to get on, which was great. And really, I think it's just now to kind of look over what we are hoping from the series. George?
So, if I was going to have... Obviously, naturally, we're all going to see the same thing. We wanted to end right with Episode 3 starting.
So, put that as a starter. None of us could say we wanted to have an end point to Episode 3 because we all know that's what will A, happen, and B, what we want to happen. So, that's not going to happen.
One thing I want is General Grievous to... one of the biggest issues with Clone Wars is Grievous doesn't really do anything in them. He's the villain of the week that always loses. And compared to how badass he was in the original 2D animated Clone Wars, where he was fearsome and terrifying, when they do the kidnapping of Palpatine, I want to see Grievous just destroying people all over Coruscant. I want to see him have a Darth Vader in Rogue One moment in a corridor full of his guards and whatnot. If we can just see him as this terrifying terrorist, which they make him out to be, rather than this guy that seems to get angry and run off every week, that would be perfect. That's one thing I really want to see, is almost a redemption for Grievous. Another thing I kind of said earlier, the Caleb Doom cameo, it's cheap and easy, I know, but it would be bloody amazing. And the final one, without asking for too much, if they're going to do Order 66, if they're going to end the series with Episode 3 beginning or delve into it slightly further, I read the Kanan comics, at least the first series of them when they were doing them, and they showed his Order 66. I want to basically see an extended Order 66, but I want to see the impact in the days after. That's what made that Caleb arc interesting in the comics. You didn't just see the moment. Yeah, you didn't see the moment. You saw an aftermath. I don't think they would do that because it's not the Clone Wars at that point. The Clone Wars is over. I actually forget it. I want the final scene to be Palpatine in the Senate declaring the First Galactic Empire, and a baby being born called Ezra.
Nice.
Go on, Dave.
I mean, I've got
what would you like to see?
yeah, similar feelings. It's I'd love to see more of if we get Anakin on mission for the first few episodes. I'd really want to see more of his interaction with Palpatine as well. So I'd like to see his fall happening and being a bit closer to that fall, and maybe some of the cogs ticking to Anakin finding out who Palpatine actually is. So I'd like to see a bit more Emperor in this as well. Now that's tough. The original guy who played him passed away. Tim Curry replaced him in the Lost missions. Tim Curry obviously suffered a stroke. If anyone replaced him, I expect it probably to be Sam Witwer will jump in and at some point voice him, or they'll find another actor who has a similar. You know what? They had him in. I'm stupid. They've had him in Rebels. If they're gonna do Emperor in it or Palpatine, they will use McDermott. Of course they will. What an idiot to think that they wouldn't. Complete brain freeze. Yeah, I'd love to see that happen. That would be amazing. That would be a big thing. I want to see the attack on Mandalore. I want to see Maul versus Ahsoka in that. I really want to see that as a big story because it's a big part of her future. And at that point, we're running parallel with Episode 3 as well. So Episode 3 is happening while that's going on as well. It's all going to be just amazing. And I just want it to be good. You know what? That's my main last thing. I want this to be amazing. I want these last 12 episodes to be some of the best Star Wars that we've ever had.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, you've stolen my Ian McDermott part there. Yes, unfortunately, Ian probably passed away, and Dick Emerson had a heart attack. There was a sort of stroke, so he could no longer do it. Yeah, they don't have Ian McDermott back. That'd be amazing. Personally, I want to see a bit more of Dooku, but more of the end game for Palpatine with Dooku when he turns Anakin to go. At the end of it, of course, you have Dooku versus Anakin over on the bridge, and of course, Anakin just decapitates Dooku. I want to see kind of a manipulation point of that. I'd like to see maybe a Sidious/Dooku scene where he says, you know, I need you to capture me from Coruscant, from my office. It's time for the Clone Wars to end. Something along those lines to have, just to see his final pull of the wool over the eyes of the Jedi, to see him have that final pull of the strings. That's what I would quite like.
What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
I would like to see the droid attack on the Wookiees, to have set them up for Kashyyyk. Actually, that's a very good point. I'd actually quite like to see that. And what I would like to see would be not Order 66, setup for Order 66. See Aayla Secura sent to Felucia, to see Ki-Adi Mundi sent off to, I think it's Christophsis where he goes. To see Salukmai. Just basically see the Jedi get spread out, so you, by the time you get to Episode 3, you know where they all are, why they all are there. To give Plo Koon one last little moment of sunshine will probably happen, but just to set them all up for Order 66 and to have that last scene then lead into 3, of course, as we all said. But you know by that point, the Emperor's pulled the wall over, the Jedi are all in position to die, and then we have Episode 3, and that would be the perfect endpoint for it. And
Final episode, Krennic walks in.
Oh, please. I mean, I did read the first chapter of that Krennic book with Matt Mikkelsen, and it was like him getting close.
Catalyst. Yeah,
that's the one. I only read like 1 or 2 chapters, and it's like Krennic's like point of view, like he's slowly edging closer to like the bottom of the yes, bring me Krennic. Speaking of Krennic and the amazing film Rogue One, I just stepped off a minute ago to bring you all. So obviously everyone wasn't here. Well, our episode yesterday, for reasons out of our control, isn't here. I spoke that I may have had a delivery and it would likely come tomorrow, which is today. And said delivery arrived today. The vintage collection Assault Tank Troop is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. There's no unboxing video because it's never being opened.
For those listening, yes. George has got the Rogue One tank in front of him. The box art on that, the old Kenner styling.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's just stunning.
It's so basically, I think one thing is worth mentioning that I've never been on the Kenner hype. I won't ever do it. I'd bankrupt myself in all honesty. Looking at that box, I can suddenly understand why people want to do it and why they need it. I love the vintage collection, but getting that, even the photo shoot of the blue background, it's just beautiful. I know this is off point, but I just could not show you guys that tonight.
It's awesome.
And it's the traditional toy. The actual pilots aren't included. Buy them all separately.
Lovely.
But if Ben Mendelsohn wants to give himself a cameo, then I'm all ears.
How good would that be? Come on, Krennic,
Galen Erso as well. Disney have built so much up over the timeline post-episode. I mean, not post-episode 3, but Clone Wars era. They've built a lot because Clone Wars had to get cancelled. Where they can chuck in a couple of cheap cameos if they really wanted to. Saul Guerrero could even come back. I really doubt he would, but
no, I don't want to cheapen it with too many cameos. I want them
I want them to keep the original protagonist. Ideally, the voice actors. I mean, in the original Clone Wars movie, of course, Samuel L. Jackson played Mace Windu. Christopher Lee was Count Dooku. Obviously, that couldn't happen in this, but I don't want them to sort of get rid of these voice actors that spent so many years working on it to bring in these bigger names. As cool as it would be to have, Hayden do Anakin, I don't think it's going to happen anyway. I think
no.
loyal to his crew.
You can always even tell by the trailer that it's
Matt Landa.
Yeah.
And Filoni's loyal to his team. I don't think there'd be any cheap.
No, I don't think. The only one I want would be to have Ian McDermott play the Emperor. That's the only one you really need.
Yeah, and I think everyone would be down with that as well.
Yeah, even Sam Witwer would be down with that. He would be.
Well, Maul's going to be in these stories, so he's going to be busy doing more anyway.
Yeah, because that's just something else I'd like to see. Would be the setup after the Siege of Mandalore to follow the Siege of the Crimson Dawn.
I was going to say, I keep saying Crimson Peak or Crimson Tide. It wasn't this. You couldn't have just picked another word than Crimson. Why? But I think that could easily be hinted at because they've opened this door now to.
Well, the Shadow Collective you see end in Son of Dathomir, which is the comic book which ends Maul's arc from the Clone Wars. So to then have just another ending, to have the ending of the Shadow Collective into the end of the fall of Mandalore, into the beginning of the Crimson Dawn. Just to see where Mandalore ends up is going to be cool with Bo, because there is so much scope. It's only 12 episodes, but it's still better than anything we could have hoped for.
It's like 18 months away almost.
That's crazy. We're going to have episode 9 Clone Wars. We're going to have a TV series.
And Resistance. It's going to
Kenobi.
It's
welcome to the golden age of the new era of Star Wars. Next year's going to be
celebration. I'm sure.
That's me breaking my own rules by swearing there. That's how excited I am. I'm breaking my own rules. Jeez.
I think they'll show one episode at Celebration of this. If there's only 12 episodes, I don't think they do 2. I think they'd show 1. But hopefully,
the best thing with that is we won't see the episode, but George will be there.
George can report, but we'll make sure he doesn't spoil it. Yeah.
Oh. It's going to be quite depressing, like in the first episode when they just take this one character that. Oh no, Rex did survive, didn't he? Of course he did. If they hadn't done Rebels, I would have sat thinking, Ahsoka's going to die. Rex is going to die. But now it's kind of like, nope, they're in Rebels. They've got to live. Yep. It's the whole guessing game. But episode 1 about Palpatine just got nicked and he's on the back of a plane. I was like, well then.
It's going to just be so good, guys. I'm really, really excited. But
I'm more excited for this than Resistance. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. It's just they would have known everyone wanted to watch Clone Wars, not Resistance. And I could understand them making them wait a year and stuff, but shouldn't we have had a trailer for Resistance, which is due out in 3 months, not 15 months?
Yes, but you know that Lucasfilm been like with their marketing recently. They've been terrible.
They'll be like, get the solo DVD to get your first look at Resistance, and then. And it will just be like more screaming Kenobi when there's no Clone Wars trailer.
But right now, it's all just Clone Wars. Clone Wars. Clone Wars is back, and it's an amazing thing.
And I'm going to rewatch them all because I've been needing a new TV show to watch in a while.
Absolutely.
If I think Robin's been on a kick this week rewatching it, I rewatched them recently, so I'm stupidly excited. That's enough to break my own rules and swear on this channel, which I never do. So, I'm stupidly excited. However, it's also gone midnight here in the UK. George has not long been home from work, and I've got work tomorrow. So I think unless we've got anything else to add, I think we should probably end it on a very good point there.
All good.
We will be back in just under 2 weeks. There is a Hasbro Star Wars panel tomorrow/today now, I guess.
Yeah.
So we'll have stuff on Facebook. They've already released the Yak Face vintage collection figure, but I'm sure there'll be some big announcements which are going to be
We've had the
very
new
exciting.
Her Universe stuff, which for those who don't know, is by Ashley Eckstein, who plays Ahsoka. She's finally including more on the men's side of things, which includes a brand new Rex and Maul jackets, which are just both gorgeous. And I will buy them. They're just so pretty. Yes, we'll keep you updated on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll put anything else that comes up. However, I don't think anything will be as big as this, which is why we'll jump on. But yes, there's nothing else to add. Then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching or listening. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also find us on iTunes and SoundCloud for the audio, or if you wish to look at our faces for some weird sadistic reason, you can find us on YouTube. Apart from that, we move on to the Force. May the Force of others be with you. Good night.